Hi, I'm Nash. You can call me Nash, and I'm a painter. I'm somewhere between an artist drowning in doubt and unemployed. So, welcome to this journey with me, and let's redesign a few of my old OCs together. Why I'm actually redesigning these OCs is that these two are actually for artfight, but before we get to that, let me take you back about a week ago, because the great idea to join artfight came to me a week before the start of artfight, after I had been mulling over it for about a month. So I ended up in this just do it. What's the worst that can happen situation? Because I remember last year seeing clips of artfight on socials, and it seemed so fun, and I really wanted to participate in it, but I was terrified of joining in the middle of it all. Just being a week till the event, there are two major problems. Problem one, I have truly procrastinated till the last minute. And problem two, I have never been into creating my own characters. I was never someone who created a lot of OCs. I was more into creating one-off paintings or fan art pieces. So I don't have a bunch of my own characters just sitting around waiting for me to pick them up. Like, maybe I have a few, but they are so painfully embarrassing that I would rather voluntarily watch Netflix's Avatar The Last Airbender than even look through my old notebooks to revive any of them. But I do have a backlog of work just floating around the internet, so let's just see if there's anything there to pick from. The plan is to visit three sources: my old DeviantArt, my forgotten art Instagram account, and my doll account. Because, to be fair, that is the closest I ever came to creating my own characters. Welcome to my old DeviantArt. That after this, I will archive everything or something. I don't know, because who needs their weird teenage things out on the internet? This is what having a digital footprint looks like. Thought I had more of my own work here, but turns out I don't have a lot here. It's mostly all K-pop fan art and fashion sketches that are very reminiscent of their times and the K-pop influence. I was hoping I could just pick all the OCs from here, but here we are. Not that lucky. From everything that is uploaded here, even in the archives. These were the final contenders from the selection I had. And as the details on these two are kind of insane, and I mean, I've clearly made this as an OC design, I think she has the most potential for a redesign. She's cute, slightly gruesome, so it's all in balance. I thought she would be an easy redesign because I made a character sheet for her. I've clearly thought about it. But the more I looked at her, the more I understood I don't like her. I just don't like her. So the very first thing I did was make a pros and cons list. So the likes are neck detailing with the neckline off her top. I like the idea of the staff. I really do. I just don't know if it will work out. These parts of the design, the sculptural element of it, but I do feel they are slightly overshadowed by what goes on around them. And the last thing that I do like is the juxtaposition of the concept and the visual. Moving on to the dislike, the hair, the face, and the body feel disconnected, all pun intended, but I do feel like the hair does feel like a completely different character. The outfit silhouette gets slightly messy between the sleeves and the skirt. Like with the bell sleeve, we lose the cool architectural elements to it. So it's all a bit too busy, and it's missing this clear utility and focal point to it. For the new design, I kind of want to mature it up a bit. And before you start screaming, we will keep some of the whimsy and cute. But when I say maturing up, I mean making her more in proportion so she doesn't look like she's 13. Like the big bubble head gives off like young child. We're just gonna fix her body proportions. That's it. At the very beginning, I tried to keep a lot of the original. It can be seen in the early sketches where I try to keep the skirt because I really like the sculptured edges of it. With keeping the top quite similar, I did decide that we will go for a bishop sleeve over this loose bell sleeve that she had. The original had a lot of feather detailing. Like, I wanted to keep some of it, like a knot to it. Maybe not all the feathers. At this point in the redesign process, I am kind of lost. I am starting to lose all hope in this design, to be honest. Like, if I lift this silhouette from here, what happens? I get a wing motif. And then I started to play around with that. And as I lifted the wing motif, I start thinking that I can use it somewhere. And, like, what if it's symmetrical? What if it is like only on one side? And like I really love this space, like this part of the redesign where you kind of play around with the ideas that interest you and you find this thing that fits the best. This wing motif that the skirt overlaps into is kind of what leads me into looking into the symbolism of what I can add to her, what would make sense for a necromancer, and I land on moths. The primary symbolism of moths is transformation, intuition, and the search for inner truth, which I think would suit her quite well. So it is fitting for a necromancer. And like from moths, the logical next step is the so-called death moth, the death head hawk moth. It's used a lot in media for its symbolism because like the duality of life, death, metamorphosis, and like all of these things is like kind of what starts to break me, and the details of the redesign are starting to finally come together. Her colorway starts shifting away from the very pure red and wanted to add the fluff of the feathers back, and I didn't want to know how to do it. I like the idea of giving her a hood, and with the moth, it kind of makes sense. I don't know, I just really like big hoods and I thought she could use it. So we keep the cute aspect, but I ended up not drawing her with the hood. Pulling inspiration from moths is what actually like brought her together. And I'm not kidding, like moths, like their bodies, they're slightly armored. So even the really cute pink ones, oh my god, I love them. But yeah, they have these armored, like plated elements to it. This is kind of what becomes the turning point of the design. If everything was following this rigid symmetry that I had established in the old one, then with this one, with moving the architecture elements of the skirt only to one side and elongating them, then looking at the armored pattern, I added it into the corset part of it, which now comes this like jacket, more of a jacket than just a corset, of like overlaying different bits of it, which I think is like really cool. And of course, if you make a design like this, you do give her armored thigh-high boots, because why wouldn't you? So this is her redesign. She's missing the staff that I did design based off of like the skeletal remains of a human, but like in the painting progress, if something did not match up, so I decided to just leave it off for now. She's ready. She's currently nameless, but with like all good things, with time, maybe she will have a name. Who knows? My next victim was from my old art Instagram account, and even if there's more OC work here, there's still a lot of like work of fan art and studies and just paintings. The two works I was pulled towards was this spider girly. She looks really fun, really cute, kind of similar to the Necromancer, where it's like cute visuals with the slightly gruesome aspect to it. And then I had this celestial goddess. So after a long deliberation and enduring the European heat wave, which I am not made for heat, I can deal with cold, with snow, not with temperatures that make sure you can leave nothing on the kitchen table because it will just melt. For the time being, we're just working on her, this celestial goddess, and yeah, we will break her down into likes and dislikes like we did the Necromancer. My likes for this one, I really do like the color combination of her complexion and with the light tones. I know there's a lot of like discussion around making darker skinned characters with light eyes and stuff, that it's a cop-out, but here she is a celestial goddess. We're gonna make it work. What I like as well is the star tears. I think if we execute it well, it can show immense pain, and it can add like a cool detail to her backstory that she still does not have. Dislikes. What I don't like is this orange scrap around her neck. I don't know what it is. It is just something that I have made and like apparently kept. And like I think like more style wise, I don't like the white line art. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like thinking, what was I thinking, but on the road to one's most effortless workflow, or well, style, you're supposed to test and try everything. For example, line art always stressed me out, and that's why I never wanted to do it. Like, I would make a sketch, I would go into line it, and it would look so much worse. So I decided to, like, not do it. Her redesign was more effortless as I did know what I wanted. The first thing to redesign was the tears. So the more cartoonish approach wouldn't work with how I like with the visual representation of my current style, but I did keep a lot of what we see in the portrait. The thing is as well, like we have to take into consideration this is a portrait, this is not a full character sheet, so there's less to redesign. And with her, I sketched her out as well. And you could kind of just see me figuring out how the dress would work. I wanted her to have a super sculpted bust and a flowy dress that kind of just fades into nothing. Like to play on this idea of dawn and dusk, like being and disappearing, and like how the pastel colors play against the darkness of night, so her own darkness would fade away as well. And here I do not mean like skin tone or something. I do mean like literally the dress. As far as her skin tone goes, I am keeping a lot of like this, like the original one, she has this very red undertone to it. I'm keeping a lot of it, but I am mixing the skin tones more so she is more fleshed out. And her overall design became very rooted in what I imagine when you tell me goddess. It reads rather Grecian with a slight sprinkle of like 50s glamour, but not too much, where it's like overtaken by this gold age of Hollywood imagination of what a goddess would be. The end piece here is not a character sheet, more of a painting. I wanted to go for something really dramatic and emotional because I feel like her design wants me to make something dramatic and emotional. I focused so much on the emotional value and the body language and the anatomical nightmare of how her face is angled that I completely forgot to add the stars that I wanted to sprinkle into her dress. I did try the hairnet. I sketched it out and I tried it in the painting and I immediately hated it. It is maybe for some characters somewhere else. It might be a really good idea on them, but not for her. So here she is in all her emotional glory. Does this painting help anyone if they wanted to make an attack based off of her character? No, absolutely not. But that is what is fun. I don't want to give like rigid paintings to this. I just, here you go, here's a character, have fun with it. I am not emotionally invested in them. I do think I wanted to tell you guys more about the design process, but I got distracted by the fact that I got a text from my mom. She was like, hey, I brought you some bees again. They're gonna stay for a day to recalibrate themselves. So yeah, here's a picture of my apple tree and, well, the beehive in the apple tree and the one sitting between the bushes. Enjoy. So because of the heat wave, I never made it to actually doing Redesign 3. I picked out these two cuties, Saskia and Freya, so we would have something actually cute, and it's like, their colors are cute, their hair, like, absolute chef's kiss. Like, till this day, I think they are one of the cutest doll designs I created. But maybe they deserve a redesign by just making these dolls again, and not just the painting of them. But that is for some other time. But these are my two finished works. Both took around 6 hours. I didn't want to make them like super detailed as some of my more insane pieces, but I think for the purpose of just having an OC for artfight, so if anyone wants to attack back, they will have at least something of a visual cue. My own plan for artfight is to push as much as I can. I want, like, ideally, I would want to make at least one work a day, but I am completely okay with maxing out just at a 15. 15 is good. It's like a halfway one. It's because I don't want to burn myself out. I want to make art for others without all that added stress of everything and just to flex the muscle that is making art when I don't have to think about the design and I can just create. To avoid burnout from all of this and still balancing everything else I want to do as well, I will cap all of my artfight pieces at like an hour and a half, maximum on some pieces 2 hours. That's it. Because I need to do other things as well. I have a whole list to tackle that includes Love and Deep Space, and House Moving Castle, and Avatar The Last Airbender, and like convention prep, hopefully, potentially, who knows. So why not stick around and see how artfight goes? What fun art I will make, and if we get Volko back as love interest. With love, Nash.